Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost. On this channel we're talking about the multi-dimensional and integrated approach to rapidly and radically healing from narcissistic abuse, trauma, PTSD, any kind of debilitating cycles in relationships and the aftershock, the impact on ourselves, preventing us from coming into our authentic power, our sovereign nature and our most abundant lives, right? And I want to talk about building a vision for your life after narcissistic abuse. Now, if you are really struggling with PTSD right now, there are videos on here that are very effective for you. There's one on psychological healing, there's one on emotional healing. I've got tools for breaking psychic attack. All of those things are going to, and actually everything I talk about, a lot of the time I'm covering how we deal with trauma on the level of the body, not the mind. Even the video I made yesterday deals with this. Get in a state of regulation, right? Because we want to build a much better future and we want to become sovereign, which means a source to self. It means a lot of things, but you know, the creator of our own reality in co-creation with the divine, a sovereign being, yeah, that isn't messed with, that actually comes to experience the desires of their heart, that actually lives a fulfilling life authentically, right? As themselves, not as a version of themselves that's been shelled out, controlled and made into something they're not and someone they're not. So we live in what's called a vibrational universe. There's a thing called quantum physics. If you know this, you'll already be aware. If you don't, you've probably heard of things like law of attraction various, they're not ideas, they're like science. I keep showing you this because I want you to think of it like this. It's the same as this. That's gravity. My pen fell on my lap, right? It fell on my lap. That's the law of gravity. People don't know how gravity works, but consistently over time it does, and we kind of know why. You can look into it. In quantum physics, gravity isn't the only law. There's energetics, right, which is basically the idea of frequency, that we're all emitting a frequency, transmitting an energy. And it's not that like attracts like, which is what people misunderstand, because law of attraction has become quite trendy. And so people think, well, if I'm giving out love, I'll receive love. But it doesn't actually work like that. It's compatible energy. So the empath and the narcissist can be a match. And like I keep explaining, it's not just an energetic match in narcissistic abuse. You are targeted. And it's not just your childhood wounds, and it's not just your codependency. In fact, those are things that you are on the planet to heal, and you don't need to be narcissistically abused for that. It's not, you're also heavily targeted by darkness when it comes to narcissists. They are very dark entity, they're cooperating with a very dark entity that targets everyone, or they're definitely who they want to. So there's so much more going in to that than any wound you have or anything of yourself. And part of what I am teaching is like why things are not working in terms of people coming out of this very easily is because it's a misunderstood phenomenon on the planet, and we're trying to deal with things on the level of the mind that are not of the mind, like PTSD and the energetics. We've got holes in our energy field. We haven't got strong energy fields after narcissistic abuse, which I do talk about. And two, that we're too preoccupied with intellectualizing them and fixing ourselves, when honestly it's not just any of those things that are supposedly wrong with you that is making you a target to one of the biggest predators in the universe. You know, they are targeting you, they are predators. And so although you do have things to heal, first of all, you've got to recognize it for what it is, a very dangerous predator that even if you were healed, may go for you. They'll still try. Yeah, I still in my life come up against narcissists sometimes. I'm healed. Yeah, they're predators. They're predators. So let me see. Creating a vision for your life. The reason I said about regulation is because, right, so we do live in this energetic universe. And so if you're in a state of anxiety and stress and then trying to imagine your life, what happens is you're going to put that emotion on the manifestation. Manifestation is, what am I trying to bring into my life? But if the emotion you try and manifest, and or you do, we're manifesting every day, by the way. Manifestation, you are creating your own reality every day. We just don't know it. We're just not taught it. In fact, you're not ever stuck in a reality. You're just recreating the same one because of your belief systems, which equal a cause and effect to your reality, your trauma, which is a huge one, that's misunderstood in personal development and the medical system. That was why I could not understand why everything I'd learned my whole life in personal development that had given me a lot of success And I knew a lot. I was a natural channel, a natural healer. I'd healed my own body of a chronic kidney disease at 15, and then I'd studied. I wanted to make myself even better at what I could do. I wanted to use it. And every single thing I'd learned to build my own business, to succeed in life, to heal my body was not working. Why? Trauma. The most misunderstood thing. And trauma, energetically, vibration in your energy field causes this undercurrent. So even though I was a very strong manifester, I would then bring things in during trauma, but there'd be this awful backlash. There's a lot of loss in my life because I'd bring things in and it would come crashing down because the undercurrent of the unhealed trauma was a much stronger vibration. That's what I teach you. Like, trauma causes such a strong energetic charge. So if you've ever done any research on like the emotions and energetics, forgotten his name. He works. What's his name? It doesn't matter. There's a book called Power versus Force or something like that. Talk about real power. But Michael Hawkins, I think his name is. He measures the vibrational scale of each emotion, and love is the highest vibrating one. So although like pain, sorrow, despair, shame are low vibrational emotions, right? And so on this score, you're more powerful as a manifestor if you're in love than if you're in shame. But when you're traumatized, you're attaching such a strong pain hit to the shame, such a strong energetic charge to the despair that it's way stronger. And so trauma manifests more trauma, and this is what's so terrible, why we don't end up getting out of it. And everything good that seems to come in goes wrong, because the trauma is the undercurrent. So the healing of the trauma is the first thing we do. In my sequence in Sovereign, it's all about foundation for energy and emotions first. Yeah? Then we do heart healing, then we do heart opening, then we go into boundary standards and values. And the last piece, module 6, is manifesting your best life. When you're regulated, when we've seen things, when we've cleared a lot of things up, when we've dealt with some belief systems and some energetic healing, not the other way round. So a lot of people, when they learn about manifestation, will say, well, I just want to manifest out of here. Honestly, you don't. If you haven't got your emotions and energetics straight, you really don't, because you will manifest the thing with all the emotions and energetic experience you're having now. Yeah? So the car, the house won't get you out of anxiety. In fact, you'll maybe manifest the thing, but with all the fears you have now at a stronger charge, because now you've pushed yourself out of what you can probably hold, and you'll lose it. And that's what I kept doing. And so, as well as I was being heavily bullied at the same time, traumatized. So lots of things in this. So I'm only ready, right? Because there's no point trying to manifest when you're in a very traumatized state. You might as well work on your regulation, because your body naturally gravitates to a much higher state. It's not natural for you to feel really stressed and traumatized the whole time. That's not your natural state. It's not natural for you not to love yourself. It's automatic when you understand the principles I teach in Sovereign and that I talk about on this channel. It's a byproduct of being authentic, of self-partnering with yourself. Yeah? And understanding yourself and not fighting and resisting yourself. Self-love's just a byproduct. Feeling good is your natural state. Yeah? But when we've been in these cycles, we've got like a natural set point that now becomes familiar, the body gets used to. So when your body's being traumatized and in a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of scarcity and lack just means I'm living not in abundance. I'm believing that there's not enough love in the world. I'm believing there's not enough money. I'm impoverished, basically. And all narcissists will make you feel impoverished. Even if it's not on money, I do have clients that have a lot of money, but I have every type of client. You know, I was absolutely broke, at one point, and it's very common that happens to. But also, we have to lose our judgments on people here, because there are plenty of wealthy people that go through terrible narcissistic abuse cycles. They're still manipulated. It's just not, they might not be homeless, but they certainly get manipulated with children. They certainly get their whole self-esteem, the concept of reality distorted. So narcissists will use whatever tricks they can. And it doesn't discriminate against social economic groups. It's just that for a lot of people, they'll find themselves really with nothing at the end of it. And some people don't, but they're still targeted. Yeah. So there's still, even if they have money, there's an impoverished state of being, lack of love in the world. And we think that our body starts, because it's the body that experiences emotion, not the mind. So the body's informing the mind a lot of the time. The body is really living out the subconscious, right? So we believe there's not enough love, we believe there's not enough safety, we believe there's not enough hope, we believe all these things that keep you trapped. And trauma freezes your growth, and narcissism is blocking evolution on the planet. But that's not it. You're meant to leave this planet better than when you came. You're meant to leave a legacy for your children of ideas, information, knowledge that helps us all move forward. That's how the human race progresses. So narcissism is a threat because it's a destructive energy to the evolution of humanity. So you only want a vision when you're in a regulated state, as much as you can be. But then you do, when you can get yourself regulated, on days when you can, on moments when you can, just have small ideas. Not goals if that's too far for you right away, just small ideas, just little bits in the universe, little glitches in the matrix, because the more you start moving your energy, what you can't do in narcissistic abuse, because you're so reactive, you're just a human reaction, not a human being anymore. You're reacting to the trauma, you're reacting to what they're doing, you're reacting to what's going to happen next. When you make the pause, which I've been talking about in the last few videos, yeah, so you're not a human reaction anymore. You start being a human being that can process emotions like they poop and pee. They just start processing things. They get out of their mind, talking about this a lot, separating out thoughts and feelings. Then you can have moments. It could be in a movie where you see something beautiful, a nice relationship, something that looks healthier, something that you'd like to experience, an experience you'd like to have, a vacation you could take, something that you may have dreamed about doing in your career or a hobby, right? When you can have it in a clean energy, hold on to it. And do it longer, maybe write it down. You want to, because your body is not used to now creating memories of the future. Joe Dispenza talks about memories of the future are as powerful in the body as what's actually happened. The subconscious mind, Tony Robbins talked about this for years as well, the mind does not know the difference between what happens and what we vividly imagine. And when you understand quantum, the greatest leaders of our time, the most wealthy people on the planet talk about this because it's the truth, right? Money responds to this, everything responds to the energetics, right? So this means that we can create memories of the future, things we want to experience, but it's got to be from a regulated nervous system, right, to make it powerful. Otherwise, you're going to project into the future all the emotional experience, even if you get the thing of what's going on now and you're likely to lose it. The brain doesn't know the difference. So when you start regulated, imagining your future, yeah, and what you actually want, becoming co-creator with the divine of your reality, you start creating a whole new world. My world was so terrible. My life was brutal. The way people persecuted me, treated me, lied about me, betrayed me was brutal. I had no choice but to create my own world. That's what I decided to do. I knew I couldn't operate in this world. I couldn't operate with these types of people. And I obviously learned a lot about narcissism and decided to share that because I had to hack the system. I had to find the way through. This could not cost people their lives. This is too long to heal. This is not the right information. There was that, but then there was also, and I've got to create a world I love. I didn't come to experience this, right? How do I create my own world? Stop looking at fixing their world, stop looking at changing them, come into myself, into my sovereignty. Now I get to change my world. I get to create a whole new world with whole new connections, with whole new hearts, with whole new energy, right? And that's what I can also show you what to do. But this is just something to listen to what I'm saying. Let your vibration change. Understand these concepts. They'll change your life, yeah? But only do this part when you're regulated. And again, if you want to join Sovereign, I think I'm going to reopen it mid-May because it is the sequence of all of this. It's not just, I don't just heal people. You're not just meant to heal just to not suffer. You're meant to live an abundant, beautiful life. You create your world the way you want it around you with people with hearts open and, you know what I mean, and dreams and things that we can do. And that's so far-fetched. I know in my worst trauma when I was broke, living in a trailer, barely affording to keep the trailer, luckily someone would actually rent it to me because I couldn't afford to buy one. It was that bad. Yeah, no rights to welfare, no rights to social security, so often didn't eat. I couldn't go straight into vision in the future. I had to do it regulated first, but then my heart opened. And when your heart, and I healed, you know, like I do this in Sovereign and I teach my clients this in trauma release, like when your heart opens, you naturally can't not connect to what God is putting in your heart for you. Your desires, not from the ego. Ego desires are, oh, he's got that, I want it because I'm jealous or I'm not enough. I've got this ego idea. Your heart's desires are what the divine puts in your hearts, that if you would dare to dream and be brave enough for a minute, it connects to your soul and makes you sing and dance in a way that you can't believe. It's the magic. It's the way you want to make love. It's the way you want to be held. It's the way you want to just lie on a beach one day. It's what you want to show your children. It's It's emotional, right? That's what it feels like when you really understand. It's not, you don't think your dreams, you feel your dreams, right? But when you do and connect to them outside of all the shit in your life, like the things that you can create in ways you can't imagine, because those desires come from God, which means they are divinely guided, divinely supported, and actually mostly divinely made. You just have to show up and do your part, which is to be the cooperative component, right? And God puts things in your path, people in your path, ideas, apartments. I just moved into my dream apartment, things that you couldn't have forced or controlled, all the things I was looking at, and this one was right under my nose. Yeah, I'm telling you, God will make a path, but we have to know how we work our energy and emotions in that, right? So I hope that's helpful, guys. Keep commenting, keep liking, keep subscribing. Please share my message with the world. Lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon.